Carol the Arctic Fox is a character in the Blizzard Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction. He's a mature, slightly energetic, compassionate 16-year-old fox with mysterious ice powers he's had since he was little. When he was 12, his old village was destroyed by a massive earthquake. He fled into the forest feeling weak after being unable to save his family. But a dark, purple and black smoke demon named the Shade King took advantage of Carol's weakness by corrupting his ice powers into the black ice, which he quickly got addicted to. However, he had to make a deal in exchange for these powers. He had to kill a powerful warrior, but he wasn't expecting it to be Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow easily beat him, but when he saw Carol broken and crying on the ground, Shadow resolved to help Carol renounce the black ice for good, both for his own sake and the sake of his promise. After Carol did so, Shadow trained him in combat for a year, teaching him all his tips and tricks, and created ones of his own. There was little he could not overcome thanks to his speed and agility, being able to place ice and scanning it with his retractable ice skates. He can also form ice daggers on the fly for melee combat. After training with Shadow for a year, he now lives at his home in the Great Mountains. He was breathing rather peacefully until Shadow arrived again out of nowhere, telling Carol that in some ancient mirrors a depiction of him was found, with it being connected to the purple beams that had been shooting out of the ground for 3 days, along with a huge black dragon and 2 other mysterious figures. Shadow requests Carol's assistance, to which she accepts. Will Shadow and Carol ever be able to figure out the cause of the beams? And will Carol figure out the origin of his powers, what that black dragon is, and who those other figures are? Find out in Blizzard, the Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction, releasing on November 15th.
Esther the La Perme is a character in the Blizzard Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction. Also known as the Mistress of the Wind, she is a 16-year-old La Perme cat. She is also an extremely infamous bounty hunter who works for the crime boss Magnopus the Snow Leopard. Outwardly, she may seem calm and mature, but deep down, she felt a cold emptiness that she cannot shake off. For when she was young, she was left alone at the doorstep of Dory the Duck's orphanage. After her best friend Jolene the dog was murdered, she was banished from her village and then turned to a life of crime. Her primary weapons are her electric neon green gauntlets, whose energy source is unclear. When she slams them together, she can activate super strength. She can also use them to float in the air and change her atoms into gas, turning her invisible. One day, Magnopus sent Esther on her most important mission yet, the extermination of Carol the Fox, a formidable opponent with the power to create ice from nothing. What will happen when these two forces meet? Will Esther ever fill the emptiness in her heart? And why does Magnopus want to take out Carol? Find out in Blizzard, a Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction, releasing November 15th.
The Red Panda is a character in Blizzard Sonic the Hedgehog fanfic. He is 17 years old and is laid-back, fun, loving, and a master inventor. Pilot and lore master, some of his inventions include his electric gun, with which he can shoot a blast of electricity to harm or grab enemies, and his rocket booster hang glider, with which he can travel great distances. He was given a very important role by his friend Gus the monkey before he died, namely to protect a mysterious item, the Malaxoon, a stone with the power to control time and space faintly. But it was stolen from him by 2 criminals working for the crime boss Magnopus. Rex, unable to find the criminals, began to search for information about his stone to see if he could get it back. But then, on the North Star Island, he discovered a Marrero that contains the Malaxoon, along with purple beams, gray humans, and animals, and a mysterious Arctic fox with ice powers. Rex tried to find anything to relate to this matter, but one day, his jet malfunctioned and he began to crash over a near forest. Luckily for him, 2 heroes spotted this jet, one of which being the fox he was looking for, the other being Shadow the Hedgehog. Will Carol and Shadow be able to stop the jet in time? Will Rex ever find the Malaxoon? And why was the Malaxoon, Carol, and the purple beams all in the same mural? Find out in Blizzard, a Sonic the Hedgehog fanfic, releasing November 15th.
Magnopus the Snow Leopard is a character in the Blizzard Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction. Ruthless, calculating, and manipulative, he controls practically all crime, bounty hunters, and criminals outside the scope of the Eggman Empire, with the Mistress of the Wind being his chief servant. After stealing files from Eggman, he discovers the secrets to infinite power, murals in a cave containing purple beams, a red stone, and an Arctic fox. After finding and obtaining all he could in regards to the mural, he had only one choice: to kill the Arctic fox to prevent it from getting in the way of his plans. So he sends the Mistress of the Wind, otherwise known as Esther the La Perme, to slay the fox. Will Esther kill the fox at Magnopus' will? And will Magnopus ever gain the powers he desires so badly? Find out in Blizzard, a Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction, out now on this channel's description.
Kitsunico and Tracton are characters in the Blizzard Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction. Thousands of years ago, there were 2 creatures, a wise, beautiful, and powerful kitsune named Kitsunico, and a malignant, terrible, wicked dragon named Tracton. The kitsune had the power to create her own light energy, while Tracton had the power to corrupt people with his purple beams. The 2 were increasingly at odds due to Tracton's dream of world domination, so they fought many times. But during one of their battles, Kitsunico was going to fall, so she used the last of her power to seal away Tracton in a black artifact, banishing all of the corruption for good at the cost of her own life. But now, due to the return of the purple beams, Shadow the Hedgehog has discovered murals in a cave army of corrupt people, and his old student, Carol the Arctic Fox, a fox with very unique ice powers in the midst of them. What do these murals mean? How will Shadow and Carol stop these beams from corrupting the world? And what role does Sonicoc have to play in all of this? Find out in Blizzard, a Sonic the Hedgehog fanfiction, out now on this channel's description.